Good morning and welcome to Tea and Conversation Live this morning with my good friend Alison Hewitt, candidate for City Council District 5. Welcome in. If you're just joining us, please make sure you go ahead on and share the live. Tag a couple people, let them know that we are on live talking with candidate Alison Hewitt. We all know that it's a special election coming up. We want to make sure that everyone is aware of it and you are a part of the process. Good morning, Alison. How are you doing?
Good morning. Great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. Let's go right into this. What are the top three issues facing District 5 and how do you plan on addressing them?
Um, Top three answers again. Thank you for having me. The number one is accountability with the administration. Affordable housing is very important, but we understand that in 2021, Rome Yard was approved, West River. That's over 900 units that have not been built since 2021. Why is that not happening? That would be able to address some of the issues we have with affordable housing. Number two, it would be thinking outside the box for transportation, because currently nationwide, people pay about 3% of their income to transportation. In Tampa, it is 9%. We have put, the city has put $1 million into the Nebraska corridor, increasing frequency. Maybe if we are able to think outside the box and partner with HART and collaborate with HART, we would be able to increase transportation. And number three would be economic development. We need to make sure that we are supporting our small businesses to be able to increase who they hire, to be able to increase wages so people can afford housing and afford the lifestyle, because there are tremendous opportunities coming to Tampa, and District 5 will have the areas that have a tremendous growth and not so much growth. And I need to be able to fight for equitable distribution of all this incredible opportunities.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that answer. And how do you think, Alison, um, we can utilize some of the funding that is in the CRA? That is a part of the CRA. I'm particularly talking about the CRA of East Tampa.
Well, thank you so much for asking that question, especially because I feel I need to do a call to arms for the Thursday City Council sitting as a CRA meeting. We have, a few years ago, I helped create a pre-development program because it became completely transparent that people in East Tampa were getting offers to buy their land every day. And I was asked by then Councilman Goods and Dingfelder, how do we mitigate gentrification from losing our community? So we created a grant. I wrote it, proposed it to City Council, and got a unanimous vote from City Council. And that means you get all the infrastructure, architectural, engineering, design work for people who own their land to make it into something better. Well, on Thursday at the City Council CRA meeting at 9 a.m., item number 9, they are trying to take away the grants that will help our small businesses and help for people to be able to develop their land. As I do every Sunday, I look up what's happening on Thursday, make sure I'm looking at the agenda, see what's happening. And historically it was happening for East Tampa that I review. Now I review it for District 5. There are several items on here, but most importantly, these small businesses have the ability right now to fix their businesses and make it look just like it looks at Channelside, just like it looks in Ybor, to make it bright and shiny in East Tampa. But now they're taking those grants and says, oh, we only can do code enforcement. But they're not using it for what the spirit of the state statute is doing. We have got to make sure that we're fighting for our dollars to be able to use them in East Tampa exactly how they use them in Channelside. They didn't just use Channelside to do to make it look good and not have code enforcement. They have built towers, they have built businesses, and they have built the aquarium. So we have got to make sure that we are there ready to fight on Thursday to keep these grants so our small businesses can make sure that we are utilizing the tax dollars that they've already paid. Again, as I said last night, it's not like you're asking for money from the city. This is your tax dollars you've already paid into. And so this money here would be able to, we have one young lady who has some land, who she could build, it's empty lot right now. She could build 21 affordable housing units on her lot with this grant to be able to help her do that. You know, we have another group of people who have air property that has been sitting vacant that are falling down. They will be able, with these grants, to knock that down and build assisted living facility or a business or a mixed use. But they are trying to take away our opportunity. Now, they say on the agenda that it's just to clarify. But if you read all 85 pages, it says to take away and terminate, and that they will not be able to do any multifamily or affordable housing with these grants. We've got to stand and fight. They cannot take this one tool that we have to empower ourselves.
Mm-hmm. That leads me right into Allison. What is your plan to support affordable housing in your district and throughout Tampa? But I'm really concerned about East Tampa. I'm concerned about East Tampa. So the question is throughout Tampa, but it is particularly East Tampa where I was born and raised.
Yes, what is really interesting, if you watch the budget, the city of Tampa is really leaning very heavily on the CRAs to fund affordable housing. The CRA, the city council sitting as a CRA, mandated that 30% of every CRA budget goes to affordable housing. The only CRA that does not achieve that is Tampa Heights, but that's because Tampa Heights has a development authority within themselves that also that precludes that mandate, so they can't do it. But the East Tampa CAC, Community Advisory Committee, they took it the next step, and they have put almost 60% of their budget to go to affordable housing. So again, if we have these grants still in place, what we're able to do is people who own their land and minority developers, they can develop in East Tampa. They can make sure they work with these property owners to come up with plans and use this land and be able to create some density in East Tampa if we're able to just get these property owners just a little bit of help with the architectural engineering and design, the pre-development costs that you can't really get a loan for. You can only really get a loan after you do this work. But we have some energetic minority developers ready to work with East Tampa if we just be able to get through this process. So my plan for affordable housing, especially in East Tampa, is to fight for these grants Thursday at 9 a.m. at City Hall to make sure that property owners can develop their own property. I mean, we have one senior who has her husband left her a whole lot of land adjacent to her property. She can put 15 one bedroom, 2-bedroom homes on her land. I'm also going to be working with churches, because churches now, if set up correctly, can use their land to provide housing to their seniors, because HUD has Section 202 funds to be able to bring down. But we've got to get this information out. We've got to meet with the churches. We've got to meet with these nonprofit developers. We got to make sure that they know that this opportunity is there to be able to help them to be able to make sure that they are bringing this affordable housing, especially to East Tampa.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that answer. If you're listening to us, I am on with Alison Hewitt. She's a candidate for City Council District 5. And how would you ensure equitable economic development across all neighborhoods in District 5?
Well, there's one thing that's in the budget, the capital improvement projects. If you monitor those, that really sets out where the infrastructure plan is, where they're going to do the streets, where they're going to do the sidewalks. Well, I want to make sure that I'm following the CIP schedule, and because we have the schedule, I'll make sure that when I'm talking to the community and I'm putting information out, that they know when these opportunities are coming. Number two is the city has a thing called sheltered markets, and that is projects, contracts at $300,000 and below are set aside for minority and small businesses, but they are not advertising when those sheltered markets are available. I need to make sure that I am proactive with our Black Chamber of Commerce, the small businesses, to let them know, register to be a vendor. And this is what's coming down the line for these shelter market projects. Because you get a couple of $300,000 contracts, you can set yourself up to be able to go after the larger contracts. what is most important is outreach and communication. You need to tell the people when these opportunities are coming. You need to tell them ahead of time. We will know ahead of time as city council, so they can be prepared. They can work on their insurance. They can work on bonding. But it is not. I have I'm just started a little show. It's going to be Ask Alison. There's not a way that we cannot take advantage of these opportunities as long as you know that those opportunities are there. We've got to communicate that these opportunities are there.
Right. That leads me right into how will you ensure transparency, accountability in your role as our councilwoman if you become our councilwoman?
Yeah, thank you. One of the things that I talked about last night at the NAACP forum is I plan on having District 5 every month out in District 5. So people don't have to fight to come downtown, but I will be sitting in someone's business or restaurant every month so they can come in and talk to me about what their concerns are, the issues, and I can share with them. I will always have a list of upcoming projects and opportunities and bids with me to be able to hand out. I will make sure that as I know, and I monitor anyway, I monitor the sites where all the bids opportunities come out anyway. So I will make sure I'm sending those out too on a wide branch. Okay, understand that we're going to have this construction project, because if we're going to say we're going to focus on local, then we got to make sure our local knows. In this year's budget for just the East Tampa CRA, communication and outreach is going to be about, well, it says 0 here, but they just hired a new company. But what I want to make sure that communication and outreach is specific to each area, because how you contact the businesses in East Tampa is not how you contact the businesses in Channelside. So we need to make sure that we have those opportunities ready to go.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that answer. How do you plan to involve the residents in major decisions that impact their neighborhoods?
Again, communications, transparency, and outreach. I've been on THAN, Tampa Homeowners Association, for the last 5 years, and that's where, and I've been secretary for the last 2 years. And that's when the neighborhood associations get together every month to talk about their issues. I will still participate in those meetings to make sure I'm listening to those homeowners in the neighborhood associations, but I'm also sharing information with them to be able to distribute, because we are only as powerful as our neighborhoods are. We are only as successful as our neighborhoods feel that they are successful. So I need to make sure I'm part of that. I need to make sure that I am also having newsletters that are be able to go out, but newsletters are just pictures of fluff of what I did, but newsletters of here, hold the city accountable about this. The city council needs to be held accountable about this here. And here are the links, because I am data driven. And I want to make sure that each member of my district has that data themselves to come to the conclusion themselves on how should we move forward for their best interests.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that. And how would you, because this one is real dear to my heart, is how would you invest in programs for our youth, especially in the underserved communities?
Well, we have the parks and recreation, and you need to make sure that you monitor their budgets. As I said last night, it's very interesting that the summer programs get filled very quickly. And so where is that? How are we making sure we budget to be able to have the staff to be able to take care and provide those programs to the children? But most importantly for me, in my experience, I have worked with small businesses to create pre-apprenticeship programs and apprenticeship programs. The pre-apprenticeship programs have been a significant outreach to high school, especially high school young men and women who are trying to decide really of what they're going to do, young men and women who sometimes need to have jobs to contribute to their household themselves. And so we need to make sure that we are including dollars in our major projects, for pre-apprenticeship programs and apprenticeship programs. The pre-apprenticeship, because the states does not really fund the pre-apprenticeship programs, they mostly fund apprenticeship, but some of those kids need to learn the basics. I had a client who did flooring, and you need to teach them how to measure and cut and really get the basics before you put them in the apprenticeship programs, actually laying tile or actually carpet. But we need to give them the hope and the inspiration that they can make money themselves to be able to contribute to their household by giving them certifications. Because sometimes not everyone wants to go to college, but they're good with their hands, they're good with spatial, with doing drywall and painting and activities like that. And also want to make sure that we are funding incubators, because maybe they also are artists. And so we need to make sure, put your art on t-shirts and sell those. But East Tampa especially is looking at doing incubators. We need to make sure at the city, how do we use our CRA dollars, which that is an eligible expense according to Chapter 163, to be able to help fund those incubators to do outreach to youth, to make them entrepreneurs and young entrepreneurs program.
Mm-hmm. And with that being said, because I have listened every single year, seems like during the summertime, summer programs, we're never getting the message out. I'm not sure quite how they get the message out, but we tend to fall short on the numbers of, this is every year. I often wonder why we don't have bus benches that says summer programs, summer jobs, get in touch with us. Here's the number. I'm not sure why that does not happen. I'm not sure why we don't have marquees coming up on the summertime saying that we have summer job program is coming up. So how would you assure that we get that message out to our young people? And I'm particularly talking about our children that are in high school.
And you have to go where the young people are. And potentially, and I know we have separate lanes for school board and city council, but we can talk to our colleagues at the school board to see how do we get directly to the counselors. And as they are counseling the youth for the college prep classes and things like that, we can say we're coming up on the summertime, or this student needs some ways to be able to put their talents. We need to get creative, and we need to go where the children are to give that information. We need to go where the parents are to give that information. We need to make sure that we're not just putting it in the newspaper, because most people get their information online now. And so you're not really going to be looking through the newspaper for these ads. You're not going to be listening on the radio for these ads, but we've got to now go to where the people need the information. We've got to do outside the box communication. We've got to go to the schools. We've got to go to the nonprofits who are providing these services to youth, but we can't do it how we've always do it, because we're getting the same outcomes.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for that answer. Alison, why are you the right person at this time to represent District 5?
Thank you for that. I believe that I am the right person for this time, because for the last 5-6 years, I have every extra time that I am not working, I have been following city council, following CRA, because I know the budget. So I would come in meetings and listen to that staff and understand the staff is not giving the CRA all the information, or they are interpreting that statute 163 in a way that was not the legislative intent. I have over 30 years of understanding how government speaks. I speak government, and I know how to interpret that for the community, as well as to make sure that city council understands what can and cannot do. There are tremendous opportunities coming here and coming this way, and I have the skills, the know-how to be ready, not day one, but day zero, because I know what the comprehensive plan is doing and how it would impact District 5. I have been following the budget for the last 5 years. I know the CRA, because out of the 8 CRAs, 7 are in District 5. And so I know the key components of making sure that that works. I have been making sure that on my free time, not being paid, that I am coming in before city council to make sure that I say, this is what the community needs. I have made proposals already to city council, which has passed with a unanimous vote. I have been working to make sure that District 5 have an equitable distribution. I have the knowledge that I don't need training on. I don't need someone to give me up to speed because I have been reading it. And when they come in to get me, have a meeting to get me up to speed, I will say, why isn't this, and this happening? We will have a dialogue, not them telling me what needs to happen, but me saying, as I see that Rome Yard was approved in 2021, give me why we are not moving forward. Because I know that I've seen that contract because I've read it. Because yes, people call me a nerd because I love reading this information and taking it back to the community. So I'm ready, not day one, I'm ready day zero. You just take me to the office and tell me where my computer is. We're ready to go.
Oh, so sound like you are ready for those first 100 days.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
It will be something else, because those first 100 days, if we have a runoff, will be right at November, and then we'll come to the December break. So we're going to be running, and then as far as city council meeting, because I take that break during December. But then that time I will have had more information, and I will spend that holiday time making sure that I am updating all the aspects in neighborhoods in District 5. You got to understand also how the council works when they take breaks. I know that. And I need to make sure that during those breaks, I am really on the ground talking to the people, getting ready for January.
All right. Allison, if you would, let us know when the election is. And we want to definitely make sure we get out to vote here in the city of Tampa. It's a special election, Tampa City Council District 5.
Thank you. We have early voting starts September 4th through the 7th. September 4th through the 7th. They have limited sites. Most of them are the libraries, Robert Saunders Library, C. Black Andrew, West Tampa Library. So that is 4th through the 7th, 10 to 6. That is not regular voting times. Election day is September 9th from 7 to 7. September 9th from 7 to 7. Please check your polling places. And also the vote by mail ballots went out on the 11th. And the last day to request your vote by mail is the 28th of August. So September 4th through 7th is the early voting. September 9th is the voting. Last day to get your vote by mail, if you do not want to go into the polling places, is August 28th. Please contact Supervisor of Elections if you would like your vote by mail ballot.
Okay.
And remember, HewittWillDoIt.com, because if you need a ride to the poll or if you need us to pick up your vote by mail ballot, please contact HewittWillDoIt.com.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much for joining me this morning, sis. I really appreciate that. Alison Hewitt, she's a candidate for City Council District 5. If you are just joining us, make sure you go back and look at the whole video and get all of the information, and definitely make sure you get out and vote and let your neighbors know as well. We have a special election coming up and we need everyone out voting. Thanks again, Alison, for joining us. Do you have any last things that you would like to say?
Yes, a call to arms for Thursday, 9 a.m. at City Council, City Hall. We need to make sure we fight to keep the grants for the small businesses and the property owners. Please come out. I will be there to fight for you. We need to be able to make sure that our businesses are able to access these grants. So just a call to arms for Thursday at 9 a.m. at City Hall to maintain our grants, especially in East Tampa, to save our businesses and our property.
Okay, you heard it first right here. Thank you so much, Alison, and thank you everyone for joining us for Tea and Conversation Live, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.